Hi, I'm Lori Allred. Welcome to Inspired by Pinterest, where I browse around Pinterest looking for amazing ideas and bring them to life each week in an episode here on my craft channel. Today I'm excited to share an idea using sheep protectors. Yes, I know, for whether you're a paper crafter or not a paper crafter, I hope that some of the ideas are inspiring you, but I am speaking to my peeps out there that want to keep their memory crafting, but they want to get a little creative with their sheep protectors. So let's go ahead and start with my sheep protector pin board. Yes, I have one. Remember, I have a lot of pin boards. So I usually try and move those up when you go to, if you're following me on Pinterest, Lori Allred, or Allred Design, it should be easy to find. I usually push that pin board that I'm featuring that week up to the top, so it's easy to find. So, and as always, you can go to allreddesign.net to get direct links to anything I mentioned on the show, including the pin board. But let's start off with a really cute idea from V & Company website. She actually sewed her sheep protectors, which I will talk about a couple times, but we're not doing here today as an example. But she made these darling toddler memory books using sheep protectors. What an inexpensive way to protect something from your toddlers and still have a really long-lasting gift item and stuff. So she goes through and shows you the tutorial on how to do that. The next pin's very similar. It's from sassysites.blogspot.com, and she made a cute little quiet book for her kids, having pictures of family members and whatnot. I thought that was clever. But then I loved looking at sheep protectors in a different way, ways to organize, ways to put them up in your home. This next one is featured on Simplified Bee, BEE.com, and she hangs them right inside of her cupboard door in her kitchen next to the spices with recipes, and just tucks recipes down into them. And I thought that was a fun, creative way to look at sheep protectors. But I'll tell you, the episode that inspired this one was actually from Heidi Swap. She did one ages ago. I think it was one of her first or second season about customizing page protectors. She pulls out her sewing machine, the 12 by 12 sheep protectors, and goes to town showing you some really creative ideas. So I'll link to that show on my blog as well. So let me show you what really got me going on this. So this is from my trip in Italy from last May in 2013 of my mom and I. Now, I love the Snap albums. I think they're beautiful, and these are the new faux leather ones instead of the chipboard. And I thought this was going to be a great way for me to chronicle our trip and keep it all in one album. And I actually created one for myself and one for my mother at the exact same time. So it was my way of thanking her for taking me on this amazing trip. And I still left a little part of my heart in Italy. So now Snap comes with some really fun 6x8 sheet protectors already, but then I wanted to get creative to have different parts of the album kind of pop out. So first I started doing the traditional technique where we just put the photo right on some cardstock. But then I thought they're not going to probably last that long. So then I got a little creative, especially because I took a lot of Instagram photos. So I took some sheet protectors that were originally 12 by 12 and got creative by cutting them down. So I just want to show you what I did here, and then I'll show you how I did them. So even this one here was a 12 by 12 sheet protector that I then cut off the top and folded in half. So I had all of those extra spaces for all my picture, and I even thought this was fun. This is one full picture that I cut right down the middle and put on both sides. But look how fun. This is a part of their travel line, and I just love, this was my favorite part of my trip, was the Vespa ride, and I love that I could go and cut down that sheet protector to fit my photos. And of course I don't plan, square versus horizontal versus vertical, but how fun is that I can then decorate them and put in the different things. And I got really creative with different ways to do this. So these are just any sheet protector works, and different formats do different things. So obviously this one here, I wanted to point out, I had to create its own binding right down the middle because it was too narrow to fit the hole punches. So I just took a piece of paper, folded it in half, and punched the holes in it so that it would hold in my album. And then of course this is from a 12 by 12, one that holds 4 by 4 photos. And I just cut the top off so it would fit in my album. So let me show you some tips that I learned from doing so many of those. So we have these amazing, We Are Memory Keepers, probably the brand I use the most. Of course, I had a different stash. I have everything from Project Life, odd sizes to, I don't even know. Some of them are from Photo Freedom, from our friends over at Echo Park. Some are some old brand, and I know it's going to be hard to pick that up on video. But just look at them and figure out where the seams are and how you can fold that to get creative. But I'll start with the size that I love the most, especially with as hot as Instagram is. So this is awesome because it comes in a whole pack. And I believe you get, let's see, 10 10 of these 4x4 pocket ones. I use this one, this size the most, again, because of Instagram. So you'll just take, all you need is some scissors, a scoring tool, and a paper cutter. So depending on what you want to do, if you want to just do one strip, you want to find where the seam is, where your pictures are being tucked in. Some load from the top. Well, it depends on which way you flip the sheet protector. Now you want to cut just below the seam so you don't ruin you get two parts out of it instead of just one. And so I found I always like to start my cut using a sheet protector, a paper cutter, and I cut just below the seam of the top one. And of course it doesn't go all the way to the end. So I just take my scissors, finish that trim. And now I have two sections. I have just one that's just a row of 4x4s and then two rows of 4x4s. And then I'm just going to get creative with my scoring tool. Now I want, depending on which way you want to fold it, the scoring tool will keep that. I found it holds it really well. So I just want to rub back and forth across that until I get it to score. And of course, as long as it sat in my book, it stayed really well. At first, they're a little bit, they need to have that pressure on it for a little while, but it holds fairly well, so I can keep it in that shape. And then of course I can move over and do the exact same thing to this little guy. So I can use him again. So don't think that you always have to have the 6x8 or the right size. Sometimes you can just simply get creative with the already designed different formatted photo holders, as well as I love, like on these type, just being able to, now I've got this big section here that's 6x12, and I'm not going to be able to fit that unless I cut part of it off, but I also love that I could use this section. I'd have to get creative making my own binding system, of course, but meaning there's no holes on it, but this one's a great one. They have this weird gutter through the middle, and I've had these forever. I think I got them on clearance somewhere, and it's great because I can just run my cut right through the center. And now I've got these awesome 4x6 photos that I can then fold, fan fold. Sometimes I just like to have one, or I might just want two, so be sure to always cut outside of the seam. I made some mistakes on that one and then had my pictures falling out. So again, then you just go back over where the seams are, rub it with your bone folder, and then you've got some really fun, creative ways to use sheet protectors. So hopefully that inspired you. You can also pull out your sewing machine if you're adventurous and get even more creative. So I'm glad you could join me today, and I hope that this inspired you to look at sheet protectors in a different way. Thank you.